Hello, I'm your host, Effie Pilarinu, and today I'm connecting with Marco Barbosa, who is in Portugal. It's interesting, we have never met, and like these days, we often connect with people more often that we haven't met, but I recently attended a wonderful event gathering around Earth Day, which was Cuneko. Cuneko, I guess, is the official gathering of the Cello Foundation. And that's where I heard about ImpactMarket and Marco Barbosa, and we will hear more. A brief introduction, if I can say, Marco is the founder of Impact Markets. He is recognized as one of the Forbes 30 under 30. And I will give it over to you, Marco. First of all, welcome.
All right. Thank you for having me. Yeah, 30 under 30 when I was less than 30 years old. I'm now 33. And yeah, so yeah, I can maybe tell
us where you're at now, and we'll travel backwards and connect the dots. I mean, as I said, I heard about Impact Market. Tell us about Impact Markets and what you're doing there.
Sure. I'm now in Braga, Portugal, and I've been focused on developing Impact Market, that is a decentralized anti-poverty system. Basically, we use blockchain technology in order to provide access to finance, unconditional basic income to the most vulnerable communities in the world, including Brazilian favelas, refugee camps in Africa, farmers in the Philippines. We are also in neighborhoods in the borders of in Venezuela and at their borders. So several countries where most of the people don't have a bank account or even have an income in order to survive. So so basically now the system is providing UBI to almost 20,000 people. And yeah, we distributed almost 1 million so far. And yeah, so basically that's what we're doing.
So this is, let's forget about blockchain. You have designed an infrastructure that helps distributing universal basic income. Is there a stable coin behind this?
Exactly. Yeah, we are using blockchain because it's the only way. There is no other way of doing this without this technology. So
why? Explain to me why there isn't another way of, sending payments in wallets. And when I say wallets, I mean the traditional wallets, the Google wallets, the whatever phone wallets, or are there, or if it's some M-Pesa or whatever. Why?
Well, yeah, there are several reasons for that. First, about 2 billion people are unbanked in the world. So, and most of them are in developing countries, so they don't have a bank account or the possibility to even create a bank account. Some of them don't even have an ID. Most of these people live in countries where there is hyperinflation, there is borders control, there is also money control, and people are losing their buying power, and they can't even access dollars, or they can even send money across borders. So currently, try to send money to Venezuela and see what happens. Or even if you go to Zimbabwe or Uganda or Congo or Ethiopia, Somalia. So there are several countries where people don't even have access to financial services. So cannot get a loan, cannot transfer money, cannot do anything. On top of that, there are the governments that are kind of putting limitations, and they are printing more money. So the buying power also decreases of that people. Blockchain kind of bypasses all of that. So anyone with a smartphone and access to internet, they can create a kind of bank accounts. So this is a wallet where they can send and receive value. In this case, it's a stable coin where one Cello dollar is equal to $1.
Yeah, but Marco explained to me, you know, the poor people that I'm thinking of in Venezuela or wherever else, how come they have access to smartphones?
Yes, well, that's a kind of a myth on. So smartphone became kind of the base of anyone, okay? Because first of all, you need access to information and communication. Okay, so that's why when you see refugees going across borders, all of them have smartphones. Well, they need to connect with their family, they need to connect or to send an email to ask for ID or to whatever. So on the bottom of the current kind of life wealth being situation is being able to access to information and to communicate. On top of that, then they can receive funds on that. So most of them, some countries, they use a lot of M-Pesa. Well, through our system, it's possible also to just to USSD codes to claim and to use the money. But that's kind of a myth. People have smartphones, but that's usually like the only thing they have is because they need to stay in touch. They need to have some kind of solar energy in order to charge the phone. So if they need to call to or to stay in contact with anyone in the world, so yeah, that
Okay.
will be kind of
So
the minimum.
it's a tool of survival for them.
Yes, but on top of that, usually when we work with these communities, we work directly with a local organization, a social a charity organization. And one of the possibilities, and what you're seeing is that when the people don't have a smartphone, they can provide a microcredit, then that people will pay back that microcredit with part of their UBI. Or sometimes what we are seeing is that a group of people that are in the program, and they see that there are another people that will need to be included, they will kind of save some of their money to buy that person a smartphone, so they can say that person can be included and pay back to that people. So this has not only an impact on their basic income or their children and the way they are more kind of free and to kickstart new things on their lives, or even to be able to do not think about putting food on the table on a daily basis. So also this includes them on the information era and on the access to financial services, and also they became very curious about how this works. It's amazing how can I send money so easily, and I can also earn interest on the money I have in my wallet, like automatically, like magically, because blockchain allows us these new things.
Explain to me, okay, I understand. So the distribution, your distribution mechanism is not, you know, through some app and digital advertising and so on. You are working with local social communities, and that's how you go to market, so to speak, right? And now the stable coin that you're using, is it the Cello dollar or
yes, Cello dollar?
The Cello dollar. Tell me, I don't know much about the Cello dollar. What is it? It's a non-mineable, it's a stable coin pegged to the US dollar. How does it work?
Yeah, it's a stable coin pegged to the US dollar. Yes, basically that's it. So one Cello dollar is always $1.
Yes, but how is this different than what Circle has done with their UBI? I know they have airdropped these CRC tokens as UBI. How is this different? Are you airdropping these dollars? How does it work?
Well, yeah, on the Circle is kind of more an organic way of people to vouch for each other, to create kind of an identity for each one, where anyone in the world could join and receive a token that has whatever market value it has. In our case, kind of different. We go first to the people that need it the most, and we use dollars. So most of the dollars we are getting are donations from philanthropies and foundations. And each community has a smart contract, and then people can claim money from that smart contract according to some rules. And because it's dollars, people can so they know the price on their currency, but it's backed in dollars. And because it's dollars, so people can cash out, or in developing countries, they understand the dollar, and they understand, for example, in Venezuela, that, well, it's dollars that we want, so we are protected against hyperinflation. In case of circles, they are creating a token where the value is very volatile, and maybe
so
doesn't have a lot of
it's not a stable
liquidity.
coin.
Yeah, it maybe doesn't have enough liquidity, and people will be, okay, how do I exchange this? And also that's on Ethereum. So on Ethereum now, kind of is not possible also to do what we are doing, because we are working with a very small transactions, like 70 cents, 50 cents, $1. So on Ethereum, the fees to transact is actually higher than that currently. So that's also another why we are using Cello, because it already has a stable coin, is mobile friendly, is virtually free to transact, is immediately. So it's immediate transaction.
Tell me about this aspect that my ignorance, I don't understand what mobile first means for a blockchain protocol. I understand that Cello is mobile first blockchain, but what does that mean?
Well, it's kind of the same when we had the internet. Initially, we had like 56 kilobytes per second. So it was a very slow, and only with computers we were able to access the internet.
Yeah.
So like kind of slow. So the first blockchains are kind of like that. So you need a more powerful device to access it and to transact with it. In the case of Cello, and it's a very it's a newer blockchain. So the way they are building that, first is proof of stake, so there is no mining needed. So there is only a commitment of some funds that people put in order to protect the network. And then the way they designed the nodes, so the way the devices interact with the blockchain, they kind of compressed it to the minimum, so it will be able to run in any Android. So it's more about efficiency on the way the device interacts with the network. So it's more optimized for the mobile. Well, it's actually a lot of optimized for mobile. So they when they built the system, they were considering that thousands or even millions of small devices with low memory and low connectivity and low power availability to be able to transact instantaneously with the blockchain and interact with it. So it was kind of designed from the beginning with that in mind. So that's, yeah.
Great. And now, is your solution, do you have a layer 2 solution developed on the Cello protocol or not? It's just a front end that is operating on the Cello protocol.
Yeah, everything is on layer 1. It's on everything on chain directly through smart contracts, and this is because well, layer 2 makes sense on Ethereum and bigger networks where there is heavy traffic, and well, the network is congested, so they need to kind of create more streets on top of that, so people can navigate faster, basically. On Cello, where Cello has a lot of what Ethereum 2.0 and even further versions that Ethereum 2.0 they already kind of have. So from day one, that Cello is prepared for scaling, to get access to be cheaper, to be able to transact through thousands or even millions of devices. So it was already built with that in mind.
Okay, Marco. So walk me through a very simple scenario where somebody with you know, a very simple phone receives the Cello dollars. And now what? Now they have to go and exchange it and then go buy whatever they want to buy, their groceries, another phone for their, you know, children, wherever they want to spend it. How does that work?
Okay, so basically they receive, let's put an example. In Ghana, there is a refugee camp that we are providing about, or we are enabling them to access around $1.5 a day, up to $400 in total. So it will last like almost 2 years. Because there are kind of a time increment mechanisms, so the more they claim, the more people will have to wait. So there is a kind of an incentive just for people to claim when they need. And that's dollars, right? So and they can transact those dollars. They see on the app in their currency, so based on the current exchange rate, but what they transact is always dollars. So, and because first the dollars are free to transact between wallets and are immediate. So that's a big advantage. Second is that usually people will look to cash out like once or two times at the beginning. So kind of cashing out through an exchange or through the social organization, so they can actually go to an exchange, cash out that to their local fiat money. But after a few times, and as soon as people understand that that's actually money, and kind of there is no point of cashing out, because as soon as you start reaching like more than 100 people in a community, the merchants cannot afford to be out of that. Meaning that like those communities are so vulnerable, where these people usually don't have any kind of buying power. And those merchants, local merchants on those communities, is like they have the opportunity to have dollars and on top of that earn interest on top of those dollars, and have like suddenly like hundreds of new clients that have buying power. So and the transactions are free. So all of that is like they cannot kind of afford to be out. And because there is an incentive on earning Cello, on having Cello dollar on the wallet, it incentivizes people to cash out and cash in among them. So they will try, okay, give me your Cello dollars and I pay you this because I want to have access to this kind of savings / investing opportunities.
Okay, so they don't go.
There is no other way I will have. Yes, yeah, they can exchange, but usually. Like
they do peer-to-peer,
after
really.
some time, they just transact dollars among themselves directly.
Okay, so there's this incentive because of the staking savings. There's an incentive to do peer-to-peer transactions. So if I, for some reason, need to convert my Cello dollars to the local currency because I need to buy something, right? Then instead of going to exchange, I'll go to another community member.
Exactly. Or even the local merchants themselves, they also provide cash out and they charge a commission on that.
Okay. And what are the saving rates right now? Just a bulk idea? Well,
that's on Valora. That based, for example, if they have $10 dollars on their balance, they receive around $1 in Cello per week or per 2 weeks. And then it decreases. The more they have Cello dollars on their wallet, the more they earn on in Cello. Yeah, but basically, like the merchants are the ones that start adopting that kind. As soon as we reach a critical mass of hundreds of people, like merchants start accepting it. They even do a discount for people that use the app because
they want the Cello dollars.
Yes, and because it's free to transact, they are not kind of paying all the taxes of paying with cards or Visa or whatever. With this, it's free, and this in a better currency than usually their own. So yeah, there is a lot of incentives because it's the dollar. Is the incentives are kind of stronger than
Yeah.
if we were able to create a currency that's just kind of very volatile and people, okay, what is this? How do I exchange that?
Yeah,
Why
or
is
a
this
new
high? Why is this
currency
low?
that they're
Exactly.
not familiar with. As you said, they're familiar. Talk to me, Marco, about how the distribution is decided. Who gets the dollars? This is basically you're connecting charity funds, right, with these local communities. Where is the decision making once you have the amount? How do you decide how much to allocate and then to whom and so on?
Yeah. So we work with local charities or local community leaders for them first to decide what's the UBI rate. So how much will make sense in your reality to receive per day? What will be the minimum per day for anyone to be able to
Right.
have a better life? Um, and then those charities or those community leaders are the ones who can have beneficiaries. So they are the ones with the decision power of who can be added or to remove someone. Um, we are working on different mechanisms to allow the own community to vouch for new members or
Okay.
to have a kind of a consensus. Um, and the current philanthropists that have been helping us, they are just kind of, they have been saying kind of, okay, the communities, it's up to you to decide. We want to back kind of all the system. And we have a few donors that they are choosing, okay, I want to donate to this community and to that community. But
Okay.
we are going in the front now. We are going in trying. So we are still in that phase of the startup that we want to try this in as many countries as possible with the most vulnerable communities where there is real challenges on making sure they can access it, they can use it, regardless of the country, regardless of the government. So now we are just kickstarting in the most challenging places, and we have some backers that, okay, we're also interested on seeing UBI expanding, seeing the results if this kind of is not just an utopia or actually is working. And also we want, if we want to scale this, it has to be the most capital efficient as possible. So in our case, it's almost 100% efficiency. The money goes to a smart contract and people claim it. And on Cello, there is uh, virtually no fees to execute that. And you can measure everything about that. So that's how we have been approaching that. The newest communities, we are kind of, okay, you guys bring half of the funds needed, because this is kind of ongoing, because you don't need all the funds at the beginning. You can kind of sending
Right.
funds to the contract and it goes
Yeah.
drying out. And we kind of match your donation. And another thing that we are doing is, so you can just, as a donor, you could have just deposit your funds and say, okay, I want to earn the interest of this money to go to that community. So this way, I'm not spending money and I'm providing UBI to a community. So
Is
there are
that
kind of different
open?
ways.
Is that open to others, Marco? So, I mean, of course, it's open to big donors or to charities. But if I want to come and say, okay, here is $10,000 or $1,000, right? Let me stake it, and the interest I wanted to go to, some choice of the communities that you're serving. Is that possible
Yes,
right now?
yes, it is. So, well, the good thing about this technology is that, um, and the way we designed this is that it's open and free to anyone, regardless if you're a backer or a beneficiary or local charity. So anyone in the world can interact with our platform, regardless of where that person is, and access those opportunities of, you can deposit and just say, I want this community where I want the earnings, and it eventually, well, currently it's working through, not through our platform, through another platform, but we will integrate that. But yeah, it's anyone can use it. So if you go to impactmarket.com, if you go, like, there is a view global dashboard, and you go to a place where there is a kind of a lot of statistics about everything that is going on in real time. And then in each community, there is a kind of a link to the UBI contract, and anyone can send money to that contract, and it will people will be able to claim it.
And Marco, here we're not talking, I mean, my thinking honestly was that UBI is all about programmable money. So I've been thinking that UBI programs should be flexible to be programmable. So maybe in the initial phase, they have certain covenants or clauses, and then those are changed or relaxed or more restricted. But here you're talking about something different. The money is not programmable, right? It is a stable coin dollar that is pegged. This is where is the interactivity and the feedback loop that you get as to whether you are successful in getting these people out of poverty? Because of course, if you are donating money to them for a lifetime, that's not a successful thing, right? What is the idea here?
Okay, so in order for Cello dollar to work, it was programmed to have mechanisms to keep it stable to $1.
Yes, that I understand. Yes.
In our case, well, we are actually thinking about creating a currency, and that will be programmed using kind of the assets from donors as a collateral to back this currency, and having thousands of people using it, probably it will be kind of more stable or low volatility currency. But the way we programmed this, so the money is not forever. It has a limit on, for example, is $1 up to $300 per person. So as soon as they collect up to $300, it ends. But okay, what we have is a time increment. So what happens is, it's not the money that is programmed, but the mechanism is programmed to increase time over time. Yeah. Okay, so let's say that there are 4 parameters that we use to deploy a UBI smart contract. The first is how much per claim. So every time a beneficiary requests money, how much it will be sent out to that beneficiary. Second is the minimum time they have to wait between claims. So let's say 24 hours. The third is how much they will get. So let's say they can claim $1 every 24 hours, or have to wait at least 24 hours before being able to claim again, up to $300. So when they claim $300, it ends for that person. And then there is a time increment that usually we put 5 minutes. So what it does is, for example, they claim $1, but the second time they claim $1, they will have to wait at least 24 hours and 5 minutes. The third time they claim, they will have to wait again at least 24 hours and 10 minutes. The fourth time, 24 hours and 15 minutes. So the more they claim, the more time they will have to wait, and this wait also gives more priority to the people that claim it less. So eventually, the same amount of money, the $300, if we said that we were just streaming money to people in a recurring basis automatically, it would last, for example, less than 1 year. Okay, so it's 300 days. Yeah. But in this case, because there is a time increment, so kind of slowly pushes people to become more self-sustainable, and because of that, it can last like 2 years. And the way we are measuring this, so of course we can have some surveys, and we actually did some surveys about, okay, which are the areas of your life where you're getting more impact and where you're spending things. There are several videos, people making photos, and some started their own businesses with that. So there is kind of amazing stories, but going very transparent on the chain, because everything is transparent. The things that we are initially looking at is very hard data and kind of building indicators on top of that. So how much money they are spending, so the beneficiaries, how much money they are claiming per day, how much they are transacting, how many people, with how many new people they are transacting with, how many transfers they are making, how many of those transactions are between beneficiaries or
the velocity of the money,
exactly.
really.
So you can see like that kind of economic activity going on. You can see the volume is now almost twice the amount they are claiming. So you can see all of that. And another thing that we are measuring is what we call a sustainable development, self-sustainability index. That because the system is passive and people have to claim when they need, what we are measuring is, for example, how much time on average per community each person will need to wait to claim and how much time they actually waited. So the difference between, for example, what usually happens is that at the beginning, after 24 hours, they are claiming it right away. As soon as they can, they are claiming. But over time, you start to see that the difference of time between when they can claim and when they actually claim start to increase. Meaning that, well, we can extrapolate that and say that the need for the UBI or the urgency for the UBI is getting lower because people are not so going after the money right when they can.
They're not
they
so
understand
desperate.
that they understand that they have that money and that money is them and they have time to claim it. So if they don't claim it now, they can claim it tomorrow, can claim it like in an hour, that's okay. So by measuring that over time, we can kind of deduct that the need and urgency is getting lower or not. But on top of that, we want to build storytelling, surveys, and other kind of analytics like anti-fraud, because we need kind of understand if people are not creating like several accounts in the same phone and that kind of thing. So we can build a lot kind of indicators or trust indicators around that. So yeah, we are still learning a lot of things, but
Where is your largest community right now, or
in Venezuela?
In Venezuela.
But the biggest country is Brazil, but the largest community is in Venezuela.
Okay, very interesting. And it's and for how long? I mean, in these big ones, how long have you been there operating with the UBI in Venezuela, for example? Is it 3 months?
In Venezuela, like 2 months.
2 months.
In Brazil since September last year.
Okay.
Yeah, and in Brazil, the impact has been kind of amazing. There are hundreds of merchants. The governments now want to be involved. But, well, actually, they have to be involved because people are demanding that, because it's kind of, like in Brazil, we have more than 10,000 people in the all favelas. And like now they are going to elections and kind of the politics there are kind of, hey guys, vote for us, and that kind of talk. And people are saying that, okay guys, so there is a company from nowhere came here and gave us free money exactly during the COVID, exactly when we need it, and this is actually being used and saving us.
Yeah, and it's not funny money. It's dollars.
It's dollars, and saying that these guys are doing for us what you never did, and they are doing more for us than what you should be doing for us because you're the government. And these guys from nowhere are giving like dollars. That is not even reais, it's dollars. Yeah. So then now they are kind of, whoa, what is going on? Because one thing is talking about UBI, and when we kind of talk about UBI, there's a lot of people discussing it, and there's a lot of discussion around that, and some people are more skeptical, some people are not, whatever. Even UBI were not possible without this technology because it's not possible to reach that people and to give them value. That's what blockchain brings to the internet, is ability to exchange value, not only information or communication. So when we do that, then it puts a lot of pressure on the governments, and like it's interesting to see all the ripple effects of that. And even the merchants saying, okay, we will lower we are making discounts in order for, it's our way to help. And even we are seeing, for example, we also actually kickstarted another thing that we are experimenting, that is paying for each kilo of plastic collected for recycling. And then kind of people can have a kind of an income if they choose to do that. And it was a kind of a major success. There is one of the favelas that is kind of very clean. There is no plastic there. It's quite interesting. But
So
yeah, we are
again, here you're using donation money to incentivize a local community to collect the plastic.
Yeah, so our approach to poverty is, first there is this ground that is the UBI, is the best way to reach a community and to kind of urgency method of spreading a currency and also making people kind of in a better situation. On top of that is more kind of micro work opportunities in a way that is social oriented, but also a way that can be sustainable. So for example, here, the plastic recycling, so buying plastic for recycling is on the prices are on all-time high, especially in Brazil. So the recycling companies.
Why is that? Who's interested to buy plastic for recycling? The companies?
So, well, most of them now, because of the pollution and the SDGs, and a lot of brands want to say this was made with recycling plastic, and also buying the plastic recycle is cheaper than buying the raw materials and making new plastic. So, and also they can say that, okay, because we are recycling plastic, it's cheaper, but also we are reducing our footprint. And then I can get carbon credits. And well, there's a lot of advantage. And because of the COVID, the supply chain of plastic and the materials was kind of crashes. And that's why now those companies need to keep producing plastic. So if I can't buy from the traditional suppliers, I need to buy from somewhere else. So what it does is just a market normal behavior. If there is a shock on the supply, the demand kind of increases the price in order to be able. So in this way, kind of those companies will help are helping kind of funding it at the same time, because they want to buy the plastic.
How are you linking this physical aspect of collecting, plastic for recycling? Are you just involved in making this trade with the Cello dollars, or is there some proving mechanism? How do I prove that I collected X amount of plastic and I need to get compensated with your Cello dollars?
Yeah, so if this still in pilots, and we are doing this in a ad hoc, hand in hands. We have more or less how the contracts will work, but this is very based on so in this case, for example, it is a local social organization. They become responsible for collecting the plastic and then selling to the local company, and then that money will go in again to the contract. And that what happens that the person collects plastic. There are two we are separating into two kinds of plastic. They go to that place that social organization set up. They weight it and they store it. And when they weight it, a manager of the organization scan the QR code of that person, that is their wallet, and put how many kilos and what type of kilos they delivered. And automatically the smart contract will pay based on how much is the price of the kilo. And the price of the kilo is a balance between people delivering plastic and donors providing funds.
Yes.
So this can be also very interesting for municipalities that want to, for example, incentivize. Yes. This is a way to make it cleaner and to take people out of poverty at the same time, and And the more people want to help, higher the price will be. So more people will be also incentivized to do that. And also that people will be in a better position in their life. So it's a kind of just a way to, and there is a lot of incentives also regarding
Marco, let me
climate
ask you
change.
something. Is it possible that in the next, I don't know, decade, I mean, in here in the developed world, we think that we should be working and be compensated, you know, typically a corporate job or our own business, right? What about if our thinking completely changes and we believe that half of our time should be community work, compensated by some, you know, UBI, and the rest of it should be, you know, creation, private creation. Are we going there?
I think that, well, the time, so time is the most precious unity that we have. Okay, so time, we cannot buy time.
Correct.
So you can have virtually infinite money, you cannot have
Anything
infinite time, at least for now. Eventually maybe we will discover how to extend life, or to upload our consciousness to the cloud and live in a virtual space or whatever. But so far that's the most valuable thing we have. So I think that how people spend it should be how. So that's exactly the problem that poverty brings, is a time trap. Is when you are in poverty, the way you're thinking and the way you perceive time and what you do with your time is, you are trapped on the thinking that you will need to worry about the next 8 hours of what you're going to eat, your children, how they are, and you know, like, you are trapped there. So UBI, I think that UBI should be actually universal, where everyone should be living right above the poverty line of the country, whatever country it is. And that will give people the time to then, okay, now I can think about my future. Can I improve my life? If I will study something, learn new skills, or being an artist that I always loved, or just spend more time with my kids at home, or whatever. So I think that if we have UBI, it will give people time, or taking them that trap, to build or to unleash their human potential, their creativity, their talents, their whatever, their security they need to live. So I think that's a very crucial. Well, for me, UBI will be like a kind of an unlocker that of a lot of time and potential people have.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, there's a lot of debate about the fact that, you know, welfare systems up to now have failed to
Yeah,
you know,
welfare is just a kind of very complex, and you know, like,
yeah, we don't need
weird way
to
of
get it.
tackling social issues, but
We
it's a
don't
very
need
expensive way.
Yeah, we don't need to get into that. The last thing that I wanted to ask you, Marco, I mean, we spoke about blockchain and the Cello protocol. It's definitely, I understand, the technology that is enabling to reduce the costs and to allow for all these microtransactions that is very important for a UBI. But beyond that, are you thinking that this will really change the way people collaborate and organize? You did hint about the fact that, you know, suddenly these small merchants in Brazil are realizing that they are not dependent only on government, that it is possible to be lifted out of poverty by a non-governmental entity that is nowhere and everywhere, so to speak. So are you seeing this as a broader phenomenon that can change our society?
Yeah, I think that first UBI, I don't see how UBI can be possible without this technology. I think that we are going this direction no matter what countries, governments, banks want to do, because this is unstoppable. So censorship resistant. You will have to turn internet off for people to do not be able to access it. So I think that we are seeing a lot of adoption in the blockchain, and if you see also in Google Trends on Google on searching on those countries, a lot of people use Bitcoin, blockchain, and that kind of things, because people, especially in those countries where also the young generation, that they are very familiar with the internet and they understand, wait a minute, why there is a way to bypass the governments, and there is a way to access better opportunities, and especially now during COVID, that everything is being more remote. Any company can hire from anyone in the world and pay them instantaneously, also with crypto. So we are seeing a lot of crypto going to those countries because of that. And well, I think this is going to happen. I think it will be better for everyone. It's an open financial system that everyone should have access to, and it's and because no one can control it, or
the censorship is really what you're saying is very important.
Exactly. I think that's the most important thing, is being able to access finance, being able to access value, and being able to transact it freely, instantaneously, without being blocked or worried about whatever can happen, or even without even need an ID for that, which is the most inclusive you can get.
It seems to me that it is possible in the next couple of months, in the near future, that you might be approached by, if not the government you already mentioned, maybe some politicians, but by other institutions, corporations that want to collaborate with you and be part of this UBI scheme that you have set up, either because they want to donate or because they want to, it's part of their SDG strategy, whatever it is.
Yeah, so on my other startup, on eSolidar, part of the platform provides is a kind of a CSR philanthropy solution for corporations. And what the way the perspective on that side is, for example, there are several use cases. For example, a large company in a city, they can just help fund the vulnerable communities on that city together with their employees. So they can just say, okay, guys, here's some gift cards or vouchers that you can choose to donate to which community you want, instead of being as a corporation to decide, okay, let's give to this charity or that charity. Let's give that decision power to our employees or our clients, and then we will match it. So in a way, to engage them on the decision making, so they understand also the reality and the impact that the company is creating. Well, but it can work on other ways. So they can also help match on a wider approach. Or we have, for example, with some brands, for example, charity auction with a celebrity, or like with a brand that wants to, let's say, if Tesla wants just to make an auction of a car, and then that car and the prices can go to fund the homeless in Los Angeles, that kind of things. We have some initiatives around that, but of course that we are looking to have more foundations, philanthropies, and corporations to help us, because actually our scaling limitation is the amount of money we can get. Because currently we already have like a lot of community spending in a lot of countries, but then, well, we don't have unlimited money. So we have to now kind of slow down as we try to get more funding from more donors. So, yeah.
Are you approaching different charity organizations and inviting them to join you?
Yeah. We are now talking with several foundations and philanthropists, but there is a kind of a barrier on what is blockchain in crypto.
Correct.
And
like there isn't the understanding, and there's the suspicion of why they should be using your platform.
So it kind of takes time, but we are seeing that the more time it takes and they see the numbers and they feel more comfortable with what is going on and seeing some stories from the field, I think that, and now blockchain is more kind of, people are talking more about that. There are more kind of legit people kind of advocating for that, saying that it's actually a good thing and not just a bubble or whatever people talk about on the television. Is actually like a transformational new approach to the way we exchange value. So now they are okay. I think they are becoming more open and more curious about how all that works and how people can use it. So all these questions that you are making is kind of a very natural questions that they are making as well. So hopefully we'll get that.
You will. It's definitely. Everything takes time, and then there is a tipping point, I guess. So I would like to close and thank you, Marco, and I will close with a wish, which is the wish is that on the media to see headlines more like the rise of social entrepreneurs rather than what we're seeing now, which is the rise of retail bros, trading on apps and punting and so on, and celebrating that fintech technology has enabled retail traders to really
that's not
So this is, I mean, I'm not against trading. I have a trading background, but let's celebrate the rise of the social entrepreneurship rather than the rest. Again,
I agree.
Thank you, Marco, and keep me and us updated on the journey.
All right, thank you. And if I may also wish something, just to end poverty by 2030. That's kind of that's what we are trying to help achieve.
Great. Thank you so much.